reuse and getting towards a fully reusable version of Starship. They are, in fact, reflying one of the Raptor engines that successfully returned to the tower here back during Flight 5. Believe that's number 314, or pie, which actually has a little decal of a slice of pie around it. So look for that to make an appearance at some point during the broadcast. Also, they're highlighting that these are a series of different types of tiles that'll be used as part of an experiment to test a variety of thermal protection systems to bring the ship back as safely as possible. This is some great video here, Steven. This is our first really good look. I know, obviously, Lab Padre was able to catch this from the ground when they were loading the Starlink demonstrators on board, but this is a nice view at the height as they were being loaded on board. What's kind of your expectation of this first deployment from Starship? This is something that is wholly new that we haven't seen. We saw a test of the payload bay door on, I believe, Flight 3, but this will be the first time that we actually see Starship deploy anything from there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm not sure quite what to expect. We've seen animations of the payload deployment that we're seeing now here on SpaceX's stream of the PEZ dispenser, as they've nicknamed it, popping out those satellites one after the other. I'm curious to see how quickly are they really going to fly out of the payload bay that quickly when they deploy, or are they going to be spaced out at a slower speed? Eager to see all of that, and it's one of the things that is entirely new about this flight, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they have any cameras that are on these simulators. Love to see some views as one of them is egressing the ship. Oh, there you see proof that it is Pi that is reflying from Flight 5 on board this mission here today. SpaceX obviously loves to lay into puns and jokes where it makes sense, and the Pi decal is probably one of my favorites that they've come up with so far. You know, Stephen, given this the first time that a Raptor is being reflown as a part of the fully integrated stack, what are you expecting SpaceX to learn? Well, obviously things to learn from that, but what is your expectation, maybe better question, of the performance of that engine on this flight?
Well, I think SpaceX anticipates that it's going to perform just as it did on its previous flight back in October. This flew on Flight 5, so it flew 2 flights ago when they caught the booster back at Starbase, and just and they're probably just interested to see if it matches their expectations, and not sure I really expect any difference in performance going into a reflight of this engine. It's designed to be reusable. We're probably just testing that.
Indeed. Taking a look at the time, we're currently T-minus 21 minutes, 32 seconds and counting. Just a couple minutes away now from the, speaking of the Raptor engine chill, beginning at T-minus 19 minutes and 40 seconds. quick update from SpaceX. They're about halfway through fueling the booster, about 3/4 on the ship, so things are still moving smoothly. Now T-minus 19 minutes, 17 seconds and counting. The Raptor engine chill is underway. Quick question from the Gypsy King asking if this is going to be an orbital flight and reentry or just flying around and then reentry. At this point, SpaceX is just doing suborbital flights with its Starship rocket. Good question.
$40 if necessary. This is a chance for us to perform additional checks if necessary. If we need to repressurize some tanks, or if there's a wayward vessel in the range last minute, opportunity to clear it out. But everything currently looking good. Now, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure. The ship will go to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect, or QD arm lockout, is removed in preparation for retraction, which will happen shortly after T0. And yeah, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, we do have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 40 second mark and hold there to assess what happened and assess opportunity to proceed again to T0.
Yep, we've used that T-minus 40 hold a couple of times. Boat's usually one of the items, but we aren't tracking anything right now that would cause us to hold there. We can hold there for several minutes. Main thing you're watching at is you kind of set a clocks because your temperatures will change and the fuel and the locks, everything pretty quickly. So you've got a couple of minutes that you can hang out and figure things out. There are items that if we pass them, we're scrubbed for the day. One of the main ones is that flame deflector at the bottom of the launch mount. Water begins flowing for that at the T-minus 10 second mark. If we scrub at any point after that, we'll be done for the day. And then teams will need to refill the deflector as well as all of our prop that we use to load on board the vehicle. It's pretty much just under 11 million pounds of prop sitting on that thing right now. And we can actually recycle in about 24 hours now.
Which is incredible given the sheer volume of propellant that is on board the vehicle there on your screen.
Time now, T-minus 1 minute, 53 seconds and counting. The prop load has concluded at this point. We are waiting the SpaceX flight director to give their go for launch. That is the last big box to tick before we are ready to see this Starship fly. That go for launch coming up at T-minus 30 seconds, so 1 minute away. T-minus 1 minute and counting. 40 seconds. $30 seconds. SpaceX has passed through the prop load gate, as they call it. We should be hearing the call that they are go for launch momentarily.
Director Ty Huntington, take it away.
Go for launch.
And we are now just a few seconds away. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Engine ignition. 2, 1. And liftoff of Starship on Flight 7. The ascent of Starship on its 7th test flight. It has cleared the tower. Looks like all 33 Raptor engines on the base of the Super Heavy booster are performing as expected, and a good ascent 30 seconds into flight.
All right, we're more than 30 seconds into flight. Telemetry showing 33 out of 33 engines as it's pitching downrange.
Now more than a minute into flight. Vehicle passing through max Q, the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure. Coming upon a few events in fairly rapid succession here. We'll see booster most engines cut off for MECO. T plus 2 minutes 32 seconds. That'll be followed by a hot staging, and the Super Heavy booster boost back burn will start at T plus 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Call for max Q. SpaceX launch teams are doing their necessary checks to ensure that the tower is ready to support a catch of the Super Heavy booster. They'll also be tracking data coming down from the booster itself, and they will make a manual call on whether they're going to be pursuing the catch or not. Less than 20 seconds away to MECO. Some great tracking work by the team here. Coming up on MECO now. There you see MECO. Next will be hot staging. And the boost back burn startup. We're awaiting the call that they are confirmed go for catch. Hot stage jettison coming up here in just a few seconds. That hot stage range should be jettisoned right now. Confirmation they are go for booster return. SpaceX is in fact going to go for the catch today. So for those in the area of South Padre Island, Brownsville, Boca Chica, keep your ears open. You'll hear quite an amazing sonic boom as that booster makes its way back towards the catch tower. Some great views of the release of the hot stage ring there. Now a little more than 4 minutes into flight. Coming up next, the Super Heavy booster will be transonic, or traveling below the speed of sound. with the completion of course, the boost back burn. The landing burn will begin at about T plus 6 minutes and 35 seconds, less than 2 minutes from now. Now a little more than 5 minutes into flight. Great view of the ship upper stage as it continues on with its first burn. If you take a look back at our tracking camera, you can actually still see that hot staging ring. It's the little white dot just beneath the booster there at the top of the frame. Some great views from the boosters' onboard cameras. SpaceX said that they had 30 different camera views that are on board the ship and booster with this go around. So expect to see a lot of interesting views that perhaps we have not seen before as the booster makes its way back down in anticipation of the catch. Great view of the booster that's coming back on the tracker. Landing burn set to begin in about 5 seconds. Landing burn underway. Let's listen for the sonic boom. And it looks like a good catch of the Super Heavy booster for the second time. Confirmation by SpaceX that the booster has been caught. Big congratulations to SpaceX for on attempt number 3 and for the second time catching the Super Heavy booster back safely at the tower in the arms of the chopsticks. A great view of the grid fins, the hypersonic grid fins that were controlling the steering. And as the Super Heavy booster has been caught, the ship upper stage still soldiers on. On the ship upper stage, meanwhile, they only appear to have one of the Raptor vacuum engines that is still igniting right now. No telemetry data coming in at this point in time either. At this point in the flight, the engine shutdown should have happened, so there shouldn't be any of the Raptor engines still showing as ignited. Might just be an issue with telemetry just coming down, that ship might still be okay, just not receiving good telemetry data at this particular moment. Commentators confirming that they are also waiting to hear the status of ship. One part of this mission appears to have gone exceedingly well, waiting to get the status of the ship upper stage, S-33. Notable, this was the first Block 2 version of the ship upper stage. Again, for those who are just joining us, we have seen a successful catch of the Super Heavy booster. You're taking a live look at it right now from our tracking cameras, and now a close-up from Lab Padre's camera. However, we are still awaiting the status of the ship upper stage as the telemetry data froze a little bit into the flight. Let's listen in for a status check.
Have comms with the ship, so trying to figure out exactly when that happened and exactly what happened. So obviously the flight controllers right now going through their data, looking to make sure it's not anything instrumentation on the ship, but actually try and get us a status. So again, we're gonna keep listening in on this. We'll give you an update as soon as we have a little bit more. So for now, stage 1 back in the tower, waiting to find out a little bit more about stage 2.
And there you have an update from Spacex commentator, as he noted that they have lost communications with the ship upper stage, going back and reviewing the data as they have it right now to determine when that cutoff happened and get some indication of why. Meanwhile, a great view of the engines at the base of the Super Heavy booster that supported this return to landing site operation with a catch, the second for SpaceX out of 3 attempts. Let's listen back in.
We caught a booster, but we are still waiting to find out a little bit more on the ship. So it had successfully separated. We did that hot staging maneuver. We did see all 6 of ship's engines on the way uphill during its ascent. But as we were getting to the end of that ascent burn, we saw engines dropping out on telemetry, and we have since lost contact with the ship. So again, we're still listening in on the loops, trying to figure out how much we can get right now. But again, stick with us. We'll bring you updates as soon as we hear them. Really exciting. We were able to catch the booster today. Obviously, we want to get the ship all the way over to the Indian Ocean. may not be able to do that at this point, but we'll give you some updates as soon as we hear a little bit more about the ship.
For those that didn't catch earlier, this was a new version of the ship. This was its debut flight. So a lot of learnings here for sure as we continue to tune in and listen in with the teams and try to gather more information to understand where we stand with the ship. But as Dan mentioned before, teams are trying to make sure that it's not an instrumentation error. We want to find out if it's, did we just lose communication or did something else happen with the ship? So teams are actively working, trying to figure out what we can find out, and we're continuing to listen in and find out more information to share as we can. But as we said before, and you can see it there on your screen, what a beautiful, beautiful sight to see another booster back at the launch tower. That was successfully caught just minutes ago after sending the ship off into space, and having seen it for the first time with my own eyeballs in person, it was pretty awesome. And yeah, the thunder-like sonic boom was really fun to experience.
Yeah. So we are getting